a black woman just tried to shoot me at a convenience store, not the one that I was at, but I left out of the convenience store that's at the corner by Mangoes. Now, if you come from the West End and pass Mangoes and make a right, you will keep going straight. The West End is going to be on your left, but if you keep going straight, Ashland or Ashley Apartments is going to be on your right. Keep going straight, and it's going to be a little convenience store right there on your right. And it's like a little Arab Middle Eastern man, and sometimes there's a Chinese man in there, and they got gambling machines in there. And when I went inside of the place, I went in there, and I had remembered, I was talking about my son, and they got a winter solstice where they do these blood rituals, and they do it in July, they do it in December, and I'm trying to do the research while they trying to kill me. And Cynthia, my son was alive with Cynthia. December 2019. My family had set me up from the jail. I have to go into details, but there was some sort of ritual that they were trying to perform on my son. And I called Cynthia from a man named Colin's house, where they were setting me up on the streets, everybody. And a man named Colin brought me to his house. My birthday I spent at the motel before I went with Colin. And I think on Christmas, I went with Colin. And between Christmas and New Year's, I called Cynthia O'Vera to talk to my son to make sure that he knew I was keeping not contact with them because of the custody hearing. And I was trying to win, and I did win, and they illegally gave my baby to her. And then in December 2019, I spoke to my son in December around the holidays, and he sounded like something was wrong. And Cynthia sent me a picture of him in front of her house, and he was playing on a little computer. And his eyes, around his eyes, it was real purple. And it looked like something was wrong with my son. And they had cut all his hair off of his head. And he was just staring into the computer like he didn't have nothing else. And when he was on the phone with me, he sounded so sad. And he told me that he loved me. And I told him that I loved him, and I couldn't talk to him because God told me not to have no more contact with Cynthia because she was trying to put a hit out on me. And that to tell my son I loved him. And I did. And he told me to tell Cynthia O'Vera that I was pressing charges on her son, and that God said that he was going to repay her because she was parading my son around. And when I was walking into this convenience store, I'm like, they up here trying to kill me. And God said that Lily Morris and LaMarcus Sanders and Bianca Hudson, I think that's her name, and Charles Cross was over there trying to set me up to be murdered in their home or in an Airbnb because they keep leaving the apartments after they try to murder me and they don't succeed. They always move out of the apartment, and I found out it was rental. It was a rental. It was a room. It was an Airbnb. And God said that they was trying to murder me, and they was trying to put the air conditioning down, trying to make me sick and say I had COVID, and trying to make people say that I had COVID. And God said, Andrea, you was tested for COVID multiple times because they tried to see if you had the plague, and I didn't have it. And then God said, get on the phone and call 911 if anybody try to bother you and say that Lily Morris told them that you had COVID-19, because something God said about Lily Morris trying to say I called the police trying to say that she thought I had COVID to try to get me arrested. And God showed me in a vision sitting there with my hair on top of my head. It's really skinny with Lily Morris going and lying and calling the police, and the police coming up to me talking about they needed to test me for COVID. This was when I was down there with them, and they was trying to kill me up in the house and poison me. And so God said, you call 911 if any of these people keep bothering you, and tell them that you threatened for your life. Tell them that they trying to murder you about a case where they gave your 3-year-old son away to Cynthia O'Vera illegally. And then when I was on my way, I said, into the store, I thought about it because I called Cynthia O'Vera when COVID-19 broke out. God had told me not to talk to her, but I called Cynthia O'Vera O'Vera, and I said to Cynthia O'Vera, I said, can I speak to my son? Because I called her and said, can you please make sure that my son got on a mask in public? And then because God was showing me the coronavirus plague going after everybody, and my son was running from it. And then so in the vision, and the white people was running from it, and my son ran to the very top, and he was running for his life, trying to get away from this virus, and they was chasing them people. And then so in the vision, my son, I had never seen my son again. And then God was showing me them trying to, that they plot was to try to arrest me and put me on some prison bus and take me somewhere to a satanic ritual death. And God said, get on the phone and call 911. If any police officers approach you about anything that somebody done said, and tell them that they lying and that was mean. And if they make up anything else to try to accuse you of, to have you arrested or have you apprehended, that the only reason they're trying to take you somewhere or isolate you with any police is because they gave your son away when he was 3 years old. Melbourne was 3 years old when Judge Tracy Gilbert gave him away. Melbourne was born October 28, 2016. To me, my name is Andrea Antoinette Jones, and his father, Austin John Metter. Austin went to prison in December for trying to attack me in Melbourne in the house, and I called the police. And he went to prison, and they charged him with something else. So they trying to cover up that he was attacking us, because I didn't know that he was trying to kill us for a satanic ritual death. He kept attacking me in these same months. I cannot go into detail about this right now because I need to tell y'all about the black woman that tried to shoot me. When I realized that the month that I called Cynthia when the corona broke out, and I asked Cynthia if I could speak to my child. She tried to say, you don't care about your child. When I asked her to make sure he had a mask on, she was like, you ain't even been to see your child. You don't care about your child. God told me not to have contact with her because she was a witch, and because she knew Austin was abusing me, and she shouldn't have tried to keep my son from me. That's what God said, and that Austin was going to prison. And he said that he was going, that he said a lot of things. And he said she was parading my son around. And then so I said, let me speak to my son. I called her and I said, let me speak to my son. She told me he is not here, and I have not spoke to my son. Everybody been trying to set me up. My auntie Barbara trying to set me up to be killed. My cousin Irma trying to set me up to be killed. My cousin Michelle trying to set me up to be killed. My sister Shakina trying to set me up to be killed. My sister Larissa trying to set me up to be killed. Cynthia's trying to set me up to be killed. Joseph O'Vera is trying to set me up to be killed. LaMarcus Sanders is trying to set me up to be killed. Lily Morris is trying to set me up to be killed. Bianca Hudson is trying to set me up to be killed. Marcus Mitchell is trying to set me up to be killed. Bernard, the blood that I have to stay at tonight, he's trying to set me up to be killed. Victor Golden and his sisters are trying to set me up to be killed. My uncles, David Marshall is trying to set me up to be killed. Carrie Marshall is trying to set me up to be killed. Vanessa is trying to set me up to be killed, because everybody knew that Austin was in that house abusing me, and they all sat there trying to withhold the evidence, and then they was trying to murder me in the cell, talking about they couldn't buy me out, trying to blame it on me, hiding the evidence, and they said they was gonna be raping my baby up in there. Turns out these people done worship the devil, and they got a damn antichrist spirit in them, and it's in Revelations. We in Revelations. God said that we was in Revelations, and they know something about what's going on. And so when I said so, I walked. I said a black man was coming out of the convenience store as I was walking in and realizing what was going on, and I fell to my knees. And when I fell to my knees and realized that the last time I spoke to my son was when they doing a winter solstice blood ritual, and then when I called back to try to speak to him the next year in 2020 when the corona broke out, Cynthia said that he was not there, and it was like late at night, and I said my baby is only he had just turned 3 years old, October 28, 2016 that month. So he was 20. I gotta go into the details about his age in another video, and I will, but I gotta tell y'all about why this black woman just tried to shoot me, so y'all can understand why these black women is trying to set me up. They done took the oaths that these gangs done took, and they done got the satanic spirit, and they've been doing these blood rituals on these black women and lying about it in the media and collecting 90, hundreds of millions of dollars. And God said something, it have something to do with life insurance policies, that they taking out life insurance policies on us, and that Cynthia is trying to kill my son, and that I had twins the whole time, and this baby is his twin. And I don't know how these witches I will tell you how they did it, but I cannot tell you until I tell you about the black woman that just tried to murder me in this man convenience store, and I'm pregnant with this baby. So when I fell to my knees, and the black man and his children was coming out the store, and I knew he knew what was going on because they all setting me up out here. And I said to the black man, I said, y'all better not have killed my son. And he looked at me, and he said, we didn't. And he looked back at me again. And I hope to God you meant it. I hope to God you meant it. And I walked into the store because I'm bleeding. And I needed to use the restroom and clean myself up because they want to be able to say I'm walking around with blood all over me when there is nowhere for me to sit, rest. I am pregnant. There's nowhere for me to get any food. I have not eaten. The black woman was in there and she heard me while I was going into the restroom, and I was crying, and I was like, I cannot believe